Hello, it's Craig Shoemaker with Enlightened Up. Talk about light. Talk about light in the loafers. I used to be an expression. I just noticed my socks. If you're watching on YouTube, you got to check these socks out. These are kind of like, I don't know, little Wicked Witch of the West when she's underneath of the house.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Or the Grinch. I don't know what it's look. But anyway, I just noticed that you should watch the socks that you wear when you're on camera. Hi, folks. Welcome to the podcast. This is going really well, by the way, and we're getting great feedback. We hope you give us good feedback. It is called Enlightened Up. Do the math on what that's about. It's bringing some light, some levity, and some laughter to your life when it's most needed, and that is now. Obviously, I don't know if you knew this, but I have Laughter Heals. It's a foundation. I've had it for years. My best friend got brain cancer, and I've started doing these laughter programs in a cancer facility. They gave him 3 months to live. He showed up for every one of them. He lived 15 years past that prognosis. That's how important laughter is in life, and that's why we have great guests that bring us laughter and bring us joy. We got a guy, I'll just get right to it, how we met. There's a very strange way, and how you probably know him. A lot of people, if you're old enough, a lot of people in this generation don't know you. Kato Kaelin is our guest. Kato, first of all, welcome.
Thank you so much.
It's always good to see you. What's your real name? I've never asked you this.
It's a
I'm sure
question.
many people do.
It's in my bio. It's a question on Jeopardy. It was a question on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It was a question on another game show, and the answer is Brian Kato Kaelin.
Brian.
That's my real. Yeah, Brian Kaelin.
So why would you get rid of Brian? It's. I thought you were going to say
because karate.
some dorky name.
Kato during the Green Hornet.
I got that.
So it was named.
I know where the nickname comes from.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kato,
so you just
named my middle name is Kato. So we were big.
Wait a minute. Your middle name is Kato?
Brian Kato Kaelin.
I didn't know that.
So I just went by Kato.
So your parents were fans of the Green Hornet.
Everybody in the family. We did. Yeah.
I thought it was because you have sort of Asian eyes. I thought it had something to do with it.
A little tired of Asian. I do have an Asian wife, but still.
It's a whole Asian theme.
It's the first time at a wedding we threw the rice and she picked it up and steamed it. But seriously, enlighten.
I'm using that with my wife. Is from Japan, by the way. My wife is from Japan. Oh, yeah. None of this fake stuff.
Mine's
she's official from another country?
East Coast. Beijing, far East Coast. Hey, do you want more jokes for the show? No, but Sarah, she's from Beijing. But Craig, real quick, I'm going to get serious and go back to having fun.
Yeah.
That story you told about you had a friend with the brain cancer.
Yeah.
My brother just lost his son at 29 from glioblastoma. So,
yes, that's what he had.
Yeah.
How long did he live with it?
29 years. Oh, he had it. He had 3 operations. He had the best brain surgery. I'm sure that there's a lot of great. He had University
of
Wisconsin.
Duke? Oh, Wisconsin.
Okay. They got it. They said they got it. I don't know what happened with your friend.
Yeah.
Got it. He called me 24 hours after a 28-hour surgery and said, "I'm okay, Uncle Kato." And then I went to see him, and then he had another tumor, and then they did another operation. The hardest part is you got to remember 28 when it's happened, 27. Having a girlfriend and then shaving your head and starting all over and doing this, and then the third operation, it was like they can't help you anymore, and so it was tough. And then we had to do the funeral during the COVID. We couldn't do it, so we had to wait like 8 months before we could do his actual funeral. So
was he a healthy person
Wisconsin.
Otherwise until then?
Yeah, he discovered it at Mud Runner. You know that thing, that festival you run? He had a seizure.
That's when he discovered it. Oh, he had a seizure.
And blacked out. Didn't know why. And then they did a scan. And so, but I'm saying, in your show, this kid, 27, I talked to him hundreds of times, never complain about I think he knew he was going to die. He didn't complain.
It's amazing to me. There is that old expression, only the good die young. Doesn't it seem like the complainers last forever? Up until the very end.
Yes.
Complain jackasses, people you don't like, they just go on forever.
Yes.
They would say the crotchety old man. No, they were a crotchety old 20-year-old, you know.
I'm half Swift, half Polish. On the Polish side, we had an Aunt Regina and our Uncle Hogan. And Aunt Regina would come over every Sunday. We were kind of, you always have, she's great, but you always have someone like, oh, it's going to be such a boring Sunday. They don't do anything. She'd complain, oh, my back. We didn't even know her that well, but on my back, on my feet, on my toe. She lived to about 100, and Uncle Hogan died like at 80. So I'm just saying.
Wait. A lot of the guys, they check out because they don't want to hear them anymore.
That's what I was thinking.
That's my theory on why guys love to motors, like loud motors. It's to cut out the noise. That's why guys like racing.
That's what they say in Scotland. They don't have the extreme makeover programs. They just drink more. So
Yeah.
it's true. Just drink more.
So the lesson is, if you're complaining, stop. Okay, we need to just stop
completely.
And I don't know if you're this way, but I'm of the belief that you just look inside of yourself first before you make it about someone else. Blaming, I can't stand, finger pointing.
Yeah.
Like, look at yourself first before. There's so much projecting going on right now, especially social media. I can't stand when they analyze why someone's doing it. How do you know why they're doing it? Are you, Sigmund Freud or something?
No.
This is why they're doing this. You don't know the reason.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think also some arguments I would get, by the way, his name is Alex Kaelin. I just want to say that, who passed away. But it's sort of like when I send a text to when she was girlfriend, and you can't interpret a text with what you mean by it. It would lead to so many arguments. It's like, no, you're reading it wrong, and you can't explain it's the joke, and so you just give up.
Not only that, sometimes you'd make mistakes on the text.
Do you ever?
I just asked my friend Jill. She had some surgery, and I wrote back to her. I said, "How much for a tummy fuck?" I mean.
In a text, was that social media?
Oh, thank God it wasn't on social
media, right? Do you catch yourself like reading over and over, like, should I put that out there? I got older and I just said, you know what? I don't care. I'm not out to make more new friends or anything. It's pretty well set. So I do proofread, and kids proofread your tattoos too, please. It's so
proofread.
I do. I read them over and I go, God, and then someone will say like, that's pretty, racy that you said that. It's like, no, I can't think of one offhand, but I do a lot. I do a lot on the Instagram of my stories, and I'm in airports a lot, and I do these things where I do airport races.
Yeah.
And people think I'm picking on people when I'm not. I'm making fun, like they're running from gate to gate as a horse race.
And it's okay anyway.
Yeah,
it's all right.
People love it. And
ones that don't, that's what I'm trying to say is just save it. If you're listening or watching right now, if you have something to say that's going to critique somebody that's just trying to make you laugh, save it.
That's right.
Or write to them personally. You don't need to put it out for the world.
Don't write to me
now
personally.
You're gathering other haters, and now we're at a witch hunt, because comedians are witches to people. You understand that? They are burning us at the stakes right now. Because we're like heretics.
Yeah.
We're the witches. We're the modern Salem witch trials. It's immediate. They don't ask questions. It's like you say something that they object to, or they project their own stuff onto you, and that's it. And they can destroy you that way.
And I don't know if you've been talking about the Chappelle thing or not, if you can talk about that.
Yeah.
I think his attitude is right. It's like, he doesn't, it's sort of like he's got his friends. He's set for, his life. He doesn't, it's not a biggie to him, and everybody's making it bigger than what it is. And it's sort of
which will make him more big.
Yeah.
That's what's going to make him bigger.
Yeah. Or more people to pick on him also.
You know about that. I mean, you've been in the news for quite some time. I didn't even give you your intro.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Here's his credits. He was you have 1 million credits. I know that. National Lampoon. You've done 1 million different television shows. But, of course, what led to this was an infamous time in history. It really was. So I don't know if I told you this. Even if I have, I'm going to repeat it because only you're the one I told. So I was obsessed with the O.J. Simpson trial. I went to the trial. That's how obsessed I was.
I didn't know that.
I sat with the Goldmans, and I never forget, it was the first day of testimony. Oh, I did tell you this?
No, but I think I remember you did a benefit for the Goldmans one time.
I did do that,
I was
yes.
there, I think.
Yes, but this is, I didn't know them at the time. I was let in because I was a celebrity at the time. Believe it or not, I was. Yeah. I was kind of well known.
Well, we actually met at Magic Johnson's show. I don't know if you know that, but I'll let you tell.
I think we met somewhere else. I'm going to tell that story too.
Okay, tell that too.
Okay, we've got a whole bunch of stories here. It's like, this could be like an old couple going, that's not how it happened. So you remember the Archie Bunker, like All in the Family?
Of course,
Edith would tell her stuff, and here's what happened, watch. And they would go to a flashback of how she saw it, and then, oh, jeez, and he would have his old, that'll be you and me today.
Okay, Edith.
So I was at the trial. I'll never forget this. It was the first day of defense, and they didn't know how to defend because he was so guilty. So they had horrible witnesses. So they had this woman that wore like 5 wristwatches, and she was in the real estate business, right? And Marcia Clark goes, what time did you get here? And she goes, well, why do you have all those watches? Because I'm so accurate with time. And she goes, what time did you get here? He goes, 8:30, 8:45. So you're not accurate now. Objection, right? So I'll never forget this. Kim writes a note to her mother, or stepmother, whatever, and it had a headline. It says, Brentwood real estate plummets as loonies testify. I'll never forget that. And now I'm really good friends with Kim, but so I'm at the trial and I'm obsessed with it. But I did not care for you. I'm just like, what this guy, I know he's involved in this thing, because I was really dissecting this thing. I actually wrote a script called, it was like My Dinner with OJ, where I kidnap him and I torture the confession out of him. I wrote a script about it. That's how obsessed I was with this trial.
Now is the time for that.
Now to do it?
Yeah. It's past. I think people would accept it more.
Oh, yeah, because I got rejected on that one.
Yeah, keep taking out.
But I tortured him like a Tarantino film to get it out of him, and I filmed it like cinema verite.
Yeah.
That was my script, and you were in it. But the first time I met you,
obviously in that first draft, I'm also tortured. I can tell.
Now that I know you, I softened up the torture because I kidnapped you in it too. So if you don't know that Kato was O.J. Simpson's house, you lived in his guest house.
House guest.
Yeah, house guest.
House guest, yeah.
I wouldn't call that a guest. You paid rent, right?
Yeah, no, actually, O.J. never took my money.
Wow.
Right there, he would never accept it.
So,
I lived at Nicole's, you know that, right?
So freeloader too. Okay.
Yeah, so I was living.
You lived at Nicole's too? All right, we're going to get to that.
I first lived with her. That was the whole deal. And then
this was not in my script.
Moved in.
I did not know that part. Okay, so I would love to, and I'm sure you don't mind talking about this. You talk, and we're going to get back to your comedy routines. Okay, we'll get back to that.
No,
because I know you have a lot of comedy. You've been doing comedy a long time. People don't realize it, but I want to get to that part of your career. But we're going to start with this part where I know you.
Because you're a brilliant stand-up comedian. Me, I've been hosting forever.
Yes,
hosting's my gig. Comedy.
You know what your gig is, and people have told you this. This is a big compliment. You are literally the definition of charm. People have told you that, right? You are a charming, like old school Hollywood. Here's a charming guest we have. You're a charming guy. And now that leads to how we did meet.
Okay, let's.
So I didn't like you, and I said, if I ever met this guy, I would give him a talking to. And you couldn't have been nicer to me. You come up to me at this celebrity event. It was in Santa Barbara at a golf event, and we're at this big table. And this is so funny. And you're like so nice to me. I'm going, I don't want to like him, but he's too nice. And you go, oh, Craig Shoemaker, you are so good. I want to do some stand up, and can you teach me? And like, you're like a master at your craft. And I'm going, I want to not like him. And you were so charming. And then you ended up, we're hanging at the table. Like, now you're my best friend. All you got to do is compliment me. And now I've lost all my resentment towards you. I had a completely different opinion. He was not at McDonald's with OJ. What about it all switched. But you don't know this part. You get up to go charm more people. I'm alone at the table. These people across come walking over. They go, we're leaving now because of your buddy. Your buddy, he says, Nicole Brown was my prom date. And because of your buddy, and I go, this is what a loyal friend. I go, I don't even know the guy.
Under the bus. Can't go under the bus. Well, that guy didn't realize that I was closer to her than OJ.
Right.
And anyway, that's
so now, but that's a true story though. I
remember now.
I completely went, I don't know the guy. I just met him. He was very, very charming. So anyway, that was crazy. But it goes to show you when people have all these feelings about someone, when you face to face, that's about the internet. That's the way it is. When you're face to face, I didn't say one single thing to you that I was thinking while you were testifying.
That's the thing that drove me crazy the most, because I was raised pretty strict Catholic, large family. I never saw hate. I never saw anybody not like me or my family.
Right.
Just growing up that way.
Oh, that's gonna be tougher. You're a people pleaser.
Oh my God, it
must have been a nightmare.
Devastating.
Still to this day.
Yeah. No, I remember obviously nothing good. If someone says something bad, I remember that, and it dwells, and I sort of get depressed, and that was the worst part, especially in the beginning. People loved, and then there was hate. And they
loved because you were a real character. I mean, that was like you were like out of a movie. Who is this guy? And you really stood out. Obviously, there's tons of people that testified in that trial. That nobody's. The president of Hertz testified, and nobody's. He's not on my podcast today.
No, and it. I became obviously popular. It was a double-edged sword. I became popular, and for the wrong reason. I got fame before proving myself, and that was what killed a lot of people. Just destroyed a lot of actors, and I just got beat up on. So anything I did, I got criticized, and then I got a part in the show called The Watcher, and I was the lead, and it was that's when UPN was on.
Because you were already an actor.
I was an actor.
That's what you wanted to tell people. I'm already an actor here.
Went to Academy for over 7 years. I got this part.
Wow.
And I was under a microscope, but I prepared, and I think I nailed it. I got a good write-up in People magazine, and then I did another show, and they gave me a decent write-up, and and then the guy, whoever cast Seinfeld, I forgot the name. He wrote a
Mark Hirschfeld.
Yeah, I met with them.
Yeah,
but I met because the lawyer at the time, the scathing article about me, why Kato Kaelin shouldn't be this. I think that's the person. I don't want to blame, but I went in to meet him, and I think it went really well. So that's that's one of those things I didn't read, but at least I met, and I said I'm not those things that.
I remember you got a radio show. I was not happy with that. This is
I
before
the
you
radio
charmed
show
me.
was great.
That was before you charmed me. I go, why does this guy get a radio show? I'm way more talented than he is.
And you are. My radio show, I thought was it was the fastest 2 hours in radio. People still to this day come up to me and go, your radio show was honestly the best. And
it was good. 97.1, right?
97.1, the beginning of the whole thing. And I put so much, comedian helped me out with that. Two of them, Bob Hellman and then Reno Goodale. And I'm sure you know both. Yeah. So it was just.
They were like writing for you and producing and helping out?
We would write, and then I just went out. But I really know it was funny.
You do have a natural comedic sense. I mean, and I teach this, by the way. I have clients and stuff, people that aren't even in the business or even want to be, just learning how to be funnier.
Yeah.
But you have an innate sense of humor. Was that developed early on? I mean, do you know where that came from? Were you picked on as a kid? Any torture in your life? Anything bad? Or was it life just one big freeloader?
My parents charged me. Anyways, I did all the variety shows in high school. Then I did a college TV show called Kato and Friends. That was my goal to come out. My thrust was go to Los Angeles, and you got to get a TV show. But in the meantime, I was playing baseball, and I was pretty good. And we won state at my high school. I was the pitcher. I was all conference. And then I went to Wisconsin, Eau Claire, and I made the varsity my freshman year. And I said, geez, I think at that time, Cal State Fullerton had a coach named Augie Garrido. Everybody that went there became a pro.
Wow.
And so I went there. I did the tryouts, and we went the first scrimmage. Now, I'm not on the team yet, but the first scrimmage was against USC. Mark McGuire was on USC. These guys this is the God's honest truth. I got whiskers at 38 years old. In high school, I looked like I was 12, but I could throw 89 miles an hour.
Could you?
Yes, and a knuckle curve.
A knuckle curve? That's a tough ball to throw.
And I loved baseball and playing it, but I said to myself.
Did you face Mark McGuire?
No. So I said after the tryouts and watching and working out with the team, I just gave up. I said, man, these guys got.
By the way, 89 is great, but you got to throw 98.
Now 89 was pretty good back then.
Oh, really?
In the 80s, it was pretty good. I was very much like a whip, like the
Jamie
Ron
Moyer
Guidry.
Was around there.
He was a lefty, but I was a righty. But I did that whole motion. Guidry was my man. I tried to emulate everything.
A right-handed Guidry.
Yes. So
I had no idea.
Yeah. So
did you have hitting skills too?
I could hit. Yeah. I was shortstop and pitcher.
But
the thing was, it was so difficult that I knew my development in my body had not happened yet, and I knew I was a late bloomer. Like I said, I got whiskers. Yeah, I
was 5'1" and 92 pounds in high school.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm 6'2" now.
Jeez, you probably never even got a girl.
It's true. 13 girls I asked to the prom.
Wow.
13.
And you were homeschooled. That's bad. Oh.
You see how he's a natural.
Charming.
No normal actor could have come up with that. No pitcher could have come up with that. Even at 98 miles an hour, nobody could have come up with that joke like you did. Boom.
So, real quick with baseball, though, I did this. I did the league at that. Then I did an over 30 league, and it was a bunch of pros that played. Louis Tion played. I'm playing in this league. I'm third base and pitcher. Now, real quick story. I'm playing third base.
Is this after your fame?
This is before.
You're over 30.
It's 30 years old. I'm playing baseball. I still love baseball.
Yeah.
So I'm 30 and I'm playing in this 30 and plus league. Great players. Kurt Russell actually played for the
Yeah.
a team called the Dodgers. They asked me to pitch from third base. The pitcher that we have has got the bases loaded. I go in, kind of warmed up, not really. First pitch I throw, I hear the click. My bone comes out. I compound fracture. And
from
throwing a curve.
Dravecki that happened to.
Dave Dravecki.
Yeah.
So then I had to go to the hospital, and I am telling you, I wanted to die. It was the pain you can't imagine. Every finger on my right hand looked like it was a potato. The blood just goes, and I screamed so loud, people in the emergency room had to leave. I fainted. They got to break your arm. They re-break to set it.
No,
and
so you'll never be a
passed
pitcher
out.
again.
I went back to it. No, I did. I waited a year.
How could you?
But I played more second base.
And this is before 1994. Is that the year that this happened?
After
OJ
the trial
incident?
stuff, I became. Sheen played baseball. Charlie Sheen played name drop, but Charlie played a lot of these baseballs. He might have been one of the leagues. I'd met him years ago, and then the trial, we became buddies because I went to a party and I hit it off with Charlie and a guy named Nick Cassavetes who wrote the Notebook and directed it. Nick's a dear friend.
He's a member of my golf course.
Okay, so we just had a dinner. I'll tell him hi from you.
Well, he doesn't know me.
You're not his caddy. You're a golfer, right? But Nick, so
he has all the million tattoos, right?
Yeah,
he looks funny at our country club.
So, so we all had this company back in not Westlake, but Malibu Lakes area, and Calabasas, called EMA, Eat My Ass, and Charlie would. This is when Charlie had done Wall Street. He's a superstar. He's the kindest man in the world. He'd hire umpires, and we would go out to Agora Hills. There's a baseball park.
Yeah.
And we had pitchers, and it was a complete league fast pitch. And he did major league, so he had all these pros would be there.
Sure. Yeah.
So much fun. So
he's beloved in baseball because he was Wild Thing.
And exactly. And so I pitched there. It was real baseball.
Now, again, is this before?
This is after
your infamy.
This is after. This is in the 90s, but like 96, 7. Yeah. 95, 6, 7. We played for years.
But do you have people that try to bean you because you were
because
people? There's like I said,
not the friends that we had.
That guy was so angry with you. I mean, there had to be a number of those too.
I had death threats. The radio show. They gave me security. I had people.
Wow.
I told the stories a few times where people would come up to me and I would get spit on. I would get girls putting those Tootsie Rolls in my hair because the hair was like. It was amazing. And
all the rumors that were out there too. That you were scoring drugs with him at the McDonald's, right?
To this day, I judge no one. I really, because I know what it feels like. I judge no one. To this day, I have never done a drug in my entire life.
Wow.
Anything. A prescription drug. If I had to take something for.
And yet they had you down for scoring coke with OJ.
Drugs
at McDonald's.
I would hear so many.
Did you go to McDonald's that night?
It was. I didn't know where we were going, but it ended up being McDonald's. And the whole thing in the trial was...
Was he scoring drugs?
No, he went to the
He just wanted a burger.
He did I think he was... My opinion, I think that was the alibi he's setting up. Oh. I didn't know, unbeknownst to me, but that's the... I became friends with the detectives. Actually, I just got an email from Tom Lang yesterday.
Him. Yeah.
Tom has become... I became friends with the detectives, and they had told me...
Wow.
I spent a lot of time down there, and even though the trial was going on, I did 7 days, I think, in Stan. I'm down there a lot, waiting. They put you on call, so you're waiting. I'm waiting in a room smaller than this, like where coats are. It's basically, I'm in a closet, and they're waiting for my turn to go on. But I would talk to these detectives, and they're very cool, and they became. Like, I'm not saying they're charming, but they became like...
Yeah, you charmed their asses.
And I'd be in the car with them. They go...
You charmed everybody but Marcia Clark.
This guy, she asked me out. Anyways.
She did not.
During the thing, she said, we should have lunch after this is over.
Oh, my God.
She said that.
She didn't ask the right questions is what happened, right?
I was...
she had you as a hostile witness way too early.
I met with her many, many, many times. And, I would just think... People say I had that deer in the headlights look. You have to understand, I am thinking of whatever question she asked me, and if it's a question I don't remember... I realize there's a camera, but I don't really realize I'm going, so I'm looking like, I don't remember this. In my head, I'm going, I don't remember this question. Am I being tricked? And so it's a pause and everything, and people are assuming that there's a lie or anything, nothing further.
Assuming you're on drugs.
I am an honest person.
Yeah.
And I don't lie.
So, but I guess she never asked you directly if you thought that he did it. Right?
They did in the trial. I think they did in the
you think
second trial, but in the first
I could tell you because I took notes.
I don't think they can ask that question.
Oh, really?
I don't think
it would
whatever.
be objected
but
to.
I think she knew my feeling. Yeah, speculation.
Yeah,
it's a strike from the record.
So I have friends. You probably know them or friends of his, and they say flat out that he did it. They know all about the knife and everything. I mean, how many details do you know? And you know that he did it, right?
My opinion is that he's guilty, but I'm not a guy who hung out with him. You know that, right? I didn't hang out.
You happened to be at McDonald's with him that night.
That day, he just happened to come to my door
because he wanted an alibi.
And that's all part of the in the record of the trial.
Yeah,
they all all these things, like he wanted as if I had $100 bills that make change, and I said no, I have two 20s to give to him, and I gave it to him, and then I used to run. I did like 8 marathons. I used to run, so I ran that day 15 miles. Played basketball. I was starving. I invited myself to. He's going to get something to eat. I said, I'm starving. Can I go? And he paused, and this is like in the transcripts. He paused, and I could see that I invited myself, and he didn't want me to go. And
is this after you did it?
No, this is before.
Right before, right? Yeah.
So I invited myself. I don't think he had a plan. And he ended up just driving. And then the big thing is I didn't even know I hadn't even gone to a McDonald's. I don't eat McDonald's. So I thought the healthiest thing was a chicken sandwich. And so he ended up going to a McDonald's drive-through, and he ate his thing in one bite. And I waited in the car because I didn't want to eat in his Bentley. And this is it. I was just I'm not this obsequious guy, but I was sort of like, this is O.J. Simpson.
Right.
I'm not thinking. I'm thinking. And I'm a sports guy. You're a sports guy. I'm going. I'm not going to eat in his car. I respect the. I'm not going to make a mess with fries.
Especially a Bentley.
Yeah, but he ate it like one bite.
The big thing I remember is you doing the boom boom, the bang bang.
Yeah.
That's where I was mad at you. Going, you should have just said, it sounded like his black ass was going up against.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So the wall that you have here, there's no window, right?
Right.
So I'm talking to a girl at that time.
Right.
She's coming over. I'm going to go see her that night.
Yeah.
We're going to, we're not dating, but we're going to hook up. We're doing the thing. So I'm talking, and the next thing I heard these noises. I said, did we just have an earthquake? And there's a picture that actually moved a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have any window. And I said, I think we just had an earthquake. And she goes, no, I don't think so. I go, a picture just moved.
Did they interview her too?
Yeah. So
to back up that testimony. Okay, got it.
So the whole thing was this: was there an earthquake? And I kept thinking in my head, we had an earthquake. I know the picture moved, and that was the noise, the pounding.
It was him jumping over the wall.
Probably. In hindsight, I can't prove you can't, but I think that theory is a pretty good theory.
You're amazing me right now. You will not commit to it.
Well, I don't. I just. Could that be? I'm gonna say it's a great theory. It's probable, but I feel like I should swear around your show. Jesus Christ, you're worse than Marcia Clark. Holy, I'm actually reliving it and getting like
I know.
It's like
I'm sorry. I'm passionate about
that. That was a part of my life where I definitely and by the way, Kim Goldman, I love her. I done her podcast and she's great. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget all what you get pented up. You get nervous, just sort of like. Oh, and
you were on a world stage, man.
Yeah,
that's like really.
I was feeling like, oh man, can I take a break for diarrhea or not?
We were talking about in the last podcast. I just out of the blue, I said I am a huge fan of Sarah Paulson. That is an actor, man. She's unbelievable. So she did which is half of a good series and half not. The thing on FX.
Yeah. Well, can I say something about that?
Yes, absolutely.
So that series, when it came out,
they had to cast you.
That was huge. At that time, that was the first thing with Ryan Murphy directing, so it was getting a lot of press. So I got a phone call from the New York Daily News. They said, we have the screener. Would you write an article on this? And I said, yeah, the screener. I want to see it before anybody else. So I wrote I wrote the first, my view on the first episode. And it was for one gig, just to get some press. It went so well, they hired me for all 10 that I wrote. I got a writing credit, and I did it was always front page.
All 10 episodes.
Then the second one got in USA Today. Yeah. I did them all. And by the third episode, I'm seeing things in it. And one of the funniest thing was they're putting me in scenes that I'm not even part of. And I said, there's been the first 3 that I had a lot of Kato, more than. And I said, okay, I said too much Kato even for Kato. And I was writing, I was in it. I'm telling you what's going on. I'm saying a lot of embellishment, but they
embellished a lot. But
the guy who played me.
Yeah.
Billy Magnuson.
Did he call you up? And
didn't call, but he did the most incredible interview. He said he didn't want to, if I was an actor, I want to meet him no matter what.
Yeah.
The guy I'm going to play, just in case. But he made up his mind what he was going to do. But he did this thing, and it reminds me of you because he said, I talked to hundreds of people about this Kato guy. I didn't want to meet him, but I didn't hear one bad thing. This is not me being cocky.
Yeah.
And it's charming and funny, and he's saying all these things. I'm like, all right, I love this guy. Just like you. I want to like this guy.
Even though you didn't like the performance.
Yeah, and then that guy.
Did you have a problem with the performance? Because they made him look like a buffoon, right?
Yeah, they made him Spicoli.
Yeah, there you go.
He made him Spicoli. And now Billy.
Did you say that in your article?
Yeah, I did.
Spicoli.
They can Google it. It's New York Daily News because
right.
I go back and I go, these are pretty good. It was a.
Now, I thought parts of it were ridiculous, like bad casting.
Oh, yeah.
And some brilliant.
And they put
Sarah Paulson, I think she's one of the greatest actors alive.
Yeah.
Have you seen her as Linda Tripp?
Yeah, I think what's on there now. Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah,
she's off the charts. Yeah. She becomes a different human being.
Yes.
It's so were you able to? You weren't there for any of the filming.
No, I didn't see anything.
You should have said, "Look, I'm an actor. I think I can play this guy."
I was.
You should have played
at
yourself.
that time. I was surprised that I didn't even get. I mean, a lot of the other people did get in that they talked to. They did the Kardashians. They put them in. At that time, the Kardashians were obviously they're on fire now, but they were even bigger before when that came out. So they put them in a lot of scenes because they're no fools of putting the Kim.
Meanwhile, they were nothings in this whole process.
They did nothing. The father was in it just for a bit. And Billy Magnuson just did the Bond film, No Time to Die.
Oh, is that right?
His career. I look at the film and I go, yeah, he played Kato. Telling my girlfriend wife at the time, going, I'm not bragging, but he played Kato Kaelin.
You've had some unusual things that I share with you in your career, like these strange resume things. Like, I've been a Family Feud answer. I've been a Jeopardy answer, and you've been a Jeopardy answer. It's just the strangest, surrealist things that separate us from like a normal career. Well, it's like a strange career path to think that there's someone playing you. I saw an audition one time. The breakdowns.
Yeah.
I said, looking for a Craig Shoemaker type.
That's it's when you're saying when you first met me you wanted to kind of beat me up and do the whole thing.
Yeah.
The thing is, when I did meet you, I knew about you, and I was sincere from the heart. Going, this guy is great. Like, I'm excited to meet you.
I knew you were sincere.
But I'm saying it's and the paths cross, and now we're friends. But the whole thing was meeting you was like, God, Craig Shoemaker's fucking hilarious
and a nice guy.
Yeah, you are.
I'm a good actor. Yeah. I was at the first half of our conversation. I had to act and had to be nice. It was at a golf tournament up in
and I think
Santa Barbara.
You performed, right?
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I don't remember if I performed.
As a table, like I know what you're wearing, everything.
Yeah. Oh, geez, now it's a little creepy. Anyway, so how is your acting career? Have you been able to?
Well,
because you're always going to be Kato.
Well, I remember I said the comedy thing was I've been hosting for the last 4.5 years. I've been the MC host of a company called Wizard World, the largest traveling Comic-Con.
I know them.
Yeah, Wizard World. I'm the host. As a matter of fact, we go to Philadelphia a lot.
Well, one of the founders is, original. I don't think he's with them anymore.
What's his name?
Bradley. His last name's Bradley.
No,
but he hasn't been there in a few years. But he's from Philly.
Yeah,
his best friends with David Boreanaz.
Okay, well,
they grew up together.
We have an entertainment stage, and basically, it's people who sign up to meet the.
It's like Comic-Con.
It's
huge.
It's a Comic-Con. It is a Comic-Con, but we travel.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that 4.5 years. The best job ever, and I started. They just said, do whatever you want to do because whoever people are getting a signature for, they prepay. They get packages, the silver, the premium. They know how to run a business. Anyways, I end every show. I'm nonstop talking for 9 hours, and I don't even take breaks. No
way.
I know I am on fire doing this stuff, and I end it with Kato Roki, where you got everybody in Comic-Con outfits. We have the karaoke machine and the thing, and we get the actors to come up to sing if they wanted to, and then we have everybody dressed as Maleficent or the Aquaman, the Spider-Mans. I mean, it's all on my Instagram, Kato_Kaelin, of all the stuff I did. Now, Wizard World just got sold, and now I'm in sort of limbo to see what's if it's going to happen or not.
Oh, they sold it.
They just sold it to
Patrick Bradley. You don't know that name?
No, it was owned by Paul Kessler.
Yes.
The last 4.5, Paul Kessler, and
he just sold out, huh?
it is. I'm hoping he made.
I don't
money
mean
on
sold
it.
out like he's a.
I think he sold the company, and it's the company's still going, but now Fan Expo bought them. So a lot of the Wizard World people are going to be combined. They'll be even bigger.
Isn't it strange to you that I've talked about this and complained about this before? Now I'm going to be a complainer. How stand-up comedians aren't regarded like a comic, like literally a comedy con.
Oh yeah,
There's no comedy con.
Well, I think it's like the laugh festivals, though. I think
but they're very small. I mean, they're very. The Montreal's really good. But even that's not.
But it's
people
hard.
aren't lining up for autographs of comedians, and I don't know why.
A lot of comedians in parts that have done Marvel film. If there's a comedian that had done a film, it's better for him that way. And by the way, a comedian that's in a film probably does even better because the personality a lot of times of people signing is just, here, give me.
That's
your
why when I
$100,
cast movies,
you do your.
I cast comedians.
Yeah.
Because they're the best promotional people as well.
Yeah.
But I don't understand how there's this reverence for somebody playing an actor in a costume, which everything's written for you. You've got CGI and everything else. Comedians are pure. Everything's from them. The writer, the choreographer, the director, the producer. They're all of it. There's no conventions. There's no conventions with that kind of respect. But people will line up for somebody that played the third sister on Petticoat Junction. It's like, that's a true story, by the way. I met her. I was very, very excited. I told her, because I was a little kid, and I told her I remembered that she married the guy on the show, which would, when you're a kid back in Philadelphia, just going, that's really weird. She married the crop duster.
So isn't it funny when you go back? I don't know if the audience that knows Petticoat Junction, but do you ever go back and go, I taped old episodes recently just to get my mind to get creative to write stuff. I watched Hogan's Heroes, Gomer Pyle, and it's on Sundance. You can watch these things, and you go, okay, back then I was laughing because I'm younger, but still some stuff is just, it's brilliant. And then I watch the Columbos. I'm going, God, the acting, it's so much better.
Much better. And you know what they did in those Columbos? They used real people of an age. Like you would see 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds guest starring.
Stephen Bochco wrote a lot of them.
You will never see that anymore. Everybody's going to be young, good-looking, now obviously ethnically diverse. But then they had real character actors. And for some reason, same with the sitcoms. They were really, they were older. Mr. Drucker was first of all, he was in every single CBS series. He would go over from Petticoat Junction over to
Beverly
Hillbillies, and then Green Acres.
By the way,
Mr. Drucker was in all of them.
Craig and I are both 43, which is amazing with all this.
Listen, there's reruns. We never watched these things first run. We watched reruns. We'd come home and they would be on UHF, right?
This is how much I know you're the same as me. Didn't you see the downfall of the Beverly Hillbillies when Grandma actually died in real life?
Irene Ryan?
Irene Ryan.
Who was young, by the way. They made her look old.
Yeah, it's just amazing that the show
just sucked the wind out of everything.
Because she was the show.
She was the spark.
Yep.
But those old shows, though, they were so... by the way, my family, to this day, we watch Bewitched. The original Bewitched, and it is so funny to watch...
The first Darren.
Well, first of all, Tabitha was in your seat right here. I met her. She's unbelievable. Such a good person. My kids are in love with her. And she came over and brought them pictures from back then.
What's her age?
She's probably 58, something like that. But little Tabitha, with the nose.
Yeah, I remember Tabitha.
Oh, she's awesome, by the way. She's such a good person and funny and fun but it's so surreal. But we watch these things and my kids think it's great because the writing was better back then.
Yeah.
It was
and
it was
not so much the writing. I think the writing was great, but I think the way the lines delivered by Mrs. Kravitz and
they were characters.
The character that played but the other witch that was you know her name, the witch that was the aunt witch that was
Aunt Clara.
Aunt Claire was a witch.
Oh,
She's the yeah. She's
always fumbling.
The characters are great, and and you're a Don Knotts guy. I mean, who doesn't love the Ghost of Mr. Chicken or this? It's
Right.
brilliant. That Don Knotts is going to get the hot woman all the time. it's.
But there was something about, like you just said, Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah.
And by the way, that was like they had diversity back then. They actually had a black guy in the prison camp.
Exactly. And
Larry Hovis. No, what was his name?
No, Dixon's last name.
Dixon.
John Dixon.
That's
Dixon for sure. And
Larry Hovis was the other guy.
Why I watched the shows because I wanted to see certain little idiosyncrasies of Bob Crane if he did those sexual innuendos over, the film that he had done, or the Greg Kinnear did.
Right.
I forgot the name, but about his he possibly got killed in real life
because he was
pornography
involved in
or some kind of drug pornography.
Underhand, yes.
And
right.
you notice a few of them when that Heidi comes in the scenes a lot. The
blonde, the German, right?
There's certain things you kind of pick up. And John Banner, I just look at he's the show. He's Schultz, but he's the show. You always want Schultz to be in more scenes.
It was brilliant. I know nothing.
And
by the way, those catchphrases that they had, I use them to this day. Me and my buddy, I was going, I know nothing.
I don't know.
We need that again. I know nothing.
I love strudel.
I see nothing.
It's strudel.
But those were just really just fun shows to watch. But they all had innuendos, by the way, like you were just saying.
And I think, let's face it, right now I think the world is pretty screwed up and there's a lot of hate. I think guys like us, it's because we're kids, we're laughing the entire time. You do your homework or whatever, but you'd watch and you're always kind of laughing because everything was so uplifting back then. Everything was about laughing, at least in my family. And I had competition with 6 of us, but I swear to you, we had to make sure we watched certain shows and everything. We're laughing.
This is a really good point you're making. Maybe accidentally, maybe you thought of this before. This is a really good point because when we think about it, this generation was not raised watching television shows with your family.
With family, yeah.
We all watched on Saturday night. We watched
phone.
CBS.
Everything's phone and everything is.
Remember the lineup on CBS?
What year?
When we were kids. It was like Mary Tyler Moore, Bob Newhart.
Yeah, the Newhart Show.
MASH.
Yeah.
It was like right in a row. All in the Family.
All in the Family.
Archie's Place. So this is what you did as a family.
Yeah.
And you bonded. And you didn't even understand the jokes, but you understood the jokes.
And I was always when I saw my parents laugh, that made me happy.
It was your cue, exactly.
And I was like, oh God, that's you love to see your parents happy. And now everything is a 10-second, if that even. Everything's short and segments of cut of boom, the phone, joke here.
And you'd watch sitcoms, and we don't watch sitcoms, and we watch murder.
The phone is the phone. The phone is the person. It's your one-on-one.
This is it.
You're not sharing your
phone.
This
is the secret to life. This is why we're having problems. Is we're not laughing as a community anymore. It's not communal laughing.
True.
It's not families laughing together. Think of a time that you laughed with your family. We can't even decide on what to watch together because there's so much selection. Yeah. We only had 3 choices then.
Yeah,
and I was not going to watch Mannix.
and Gail.
I didn't like Mannix.
No,
my mom liked Mannix. I had to fight her on that one.
Cannon. I didn't like Cannon.
I didn't like that either. Yeah. I never understood he could ram into people with his belly.
And then
I'm going, how in the world are we supposed to buy that this fat guy is beating him up with his belly?
Yes. And then I tried to figure out why Martin Landau had Barbara Bain and his wife. I go, she's pretty hot. And I'm going, wait, how did Martin Landau? And then I met
real life.
And then I met Martin Landau at the Playboy Mansion, and Martin Landau was there every party, and the women loved him.
Yeah.
So that's why I could say, okay, Martin likes women a lot. His guy's a stud, Martin Landau.
I think my friend married his daughter. Anyway, I thought the same thing when I was a kid. I was like, how does he get her?
Yeah.
And then also from that show, Christopher George. Do you remember him from Rat Patrol?
Christopher George. I didn't watch that too much of Rat Patrol.
Phyllis George was his wife, I think.
Rat Patrol, and there was...
When you see Alan Ludden and Betty White, when you see these couples, it freaked you out a little bit when you were a kid.
Well, you didn't Betty White and Alan Ludden, I could see that because his password, he was very dry humor, and she's funny, so I could see that.
I couldn't as a kid.
Yeah.
Because you'll just go by looks when you're a kid, because my grandmother was always about looks. How's an ugly guy like him get her?
Humor.
That's exactly right.
The password is penis. Large penis.
I now that you brought this up, I really do believe that this is the solution for
Completely.
the world. Is
laughter heals, man. I mean, it's all laughter, but
about
family.
That,
yeah, it's all.
But it really is about the family, though. That's not emphasized. I'm going to start to do that with that laughter heals, because think about things you do with your family. What are you choosing to watch?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think that we coddle the kids too much. We don't show them things that we were shown.
Yeah.
Look, All in the Family was an adult show.
Mm-hmm.
But it taught us how to be an adult, and you were exposed to things like racism. You're exposed to homophobia and all those things.
Right.
You might as well. Why hide people?
Yeah, and you can't.
Why hide it from people?
Why was it acceptable to watch and funny like Blazing Saddles? And now Mel Brooks saying, and he's right. You can't do those nowadays. It's like, why? It's funny, but you don't. I just think like All in the Family. The point Norman Lear was making was
making that
to
point.
make it. So, hey, it's out there. Laugh at it, but realize it's there. And
you can't hide from it. And that's the problem with what's going on now in our society is we want to hide from these words and these things like they don't exist.
Right.
They exist.
Yeah,
So say it.
Yeah, it exists, and it spun off to the Jeffersons, and it spun off. So
They had a bunch of Maude.
well, yeah, and
They had a whole bunch of
big spinoffs. It's sort of like the Happy Days had those spinoffs too that didn't work as well.
No, I was
and,
never a Chachi guy.
Good. What's the one? Jimmy Walker.
Dynamite, Good
Yeah,
Times.
Good Times. Yeah, those are all spinoffs.
Remember he was Dynamite. Everybody's had a catchphrase then too.
I did it. I
When's the last-
hosted and I did it with the
Jimmy Walker.
Jimmy Walker.
Don't
Jimmy
call
Walker.
him JJ. Jimmy, don't call me JJ
Yeah, he
Walker.
did. So I was I loved him. He's incredible. Now he's doing Medicaid commercials or something. When he ends it with dynamite. So, you pay someone money to do it, you'll say dynamite, trust me.
Yeah, he did. He wouldn't do it for a while. He had the pride thing going.
Yeah.
Now it's like, well, I need some money. Dynamite.
He's got an agent. He knows. He's no fool.
Those catchphrases, I don't know if they have them anymore. Maybe that's another problem.
I don't know what show. I don't watch.
Do we have any
I don't watch shows really. I watch sports, and then I have I do the whatever.
And true crime. I watch true crime documentaries. I only watch documentaries.
I'm actually going to be shooting a true crime show coming up. I won't mention it on that, but I wrote one also. We'll see what happens with it.
You wrote a true crime?
I wrote a true crime show. I think it's pretty damn good.
Is it about a guy named who played football?
No. That's not even part of it. It's about wrong place, wrong time. I was one of the examples. Wrong place, wrong time.
Oh yeah.
Wrong place, wrong crime. And it's there's so many. I do watch Forensic Files. It's addicting, and I watch it with my Shang-Yi, my wife, and we are addicted. I tape them, and
what is her name?
Shang-Yi. She's from Beijing. Shang-Yi.
Shang-Yi.
Yeah.
How did you meet her?
Shang-Yi is when I was doing my Wizard World, we had investors from China a lot. We were going to go to Shanghai to do a show. We were traveling. We just did Saudi Arabia, and a gentleman said, "You've got to meet this girl. She just moved to Redondo Beach. She has no friends, and he was one of the investors from the company, and he just gave me I was on the WeChat app, and we start chatting on the app, and I could see the Chinese more reserved. She was the opposite. She was outgoing and funny. And I said, okay, I'll come down to Redondo. We took her on a date, hit it off, and then it took me 2.5 hours to get there. I said, I think you're great, but we're not going to go anywhere else with this thing. I said, it took me 2.5 to pick you up. Then I dropped her back off and drove home. It was like 5.5 hours of time on the road because traffic. It was a 2.5 drive from Toluca Lake to pick her up. And I said this, and then next thing you know, we had another date, but we waited, and we started seeing each other more and more.
Are you going to have kids?
I don't think we're going to have kids, no. I told her that I don't want kids.
You don't have kids?
Yeah, I have a daughter. I have a daughter already.
I think I do it from way back.
Way back.
How old is your daughter?
My daughter's 30. She doesn't want to tell her age, but she's in her 30s.
She's in her 30s.
She's an executive, too. She does very well.
She is not.
Yeah, she is.
So you have to audition for her?
Yeah, no. She's with a business company.
Oh, okay. Not an executive at a studio.
Yeah.
That would be so humiliating. You go audition for your...
She does very well. I tell you what, my daughter, besides loving her, I would be lost without her helping me with the internet and certain things. I still have paper trails.
It's terrible.
I love having a paper trail of any bills. I don't do a lot. I've had identity theft 3 times.
Sure.
And I just go, no. So when I do insurance forms or any kind of taxes stuff.
Literal paper.
She is busy.
Right.
She'll just help me, and I go, you saved me. She saves me on everything, Tiffany. So it helps me a lot. And Shang-Yi is Asian.
Does she have an accent?
Oh yeah, she speaks English. She went to the University of Beijing School of Language.
But she has an accent.
Accent, smart. But for your other thing, Wolfpack, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah, she has something, and we're waiting on the trademark because the culture of China is she's never not making herself better, and I've never seen someone first thing is writes every word. If she has trouble with the word, she writes it, and she goes, "Oh, that's a good word." Yesterday, the word was ruse. Like, what's ruse? Ruse. I go, well, it's a mistake, a ruse, a trick. And so she looks up and then she uses it. And then she does her TED Talks.
Oh, that's fascinating.
I'm telling you, part of the whole thing, the turn on is her knowledge of going, Jesus, I've never met a girl that's like hungry for knowledge and hungry and funny and
that
hot.
is amazing.
And
hungry for knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that at the top of my list.
She's hungry for knowledge. I've never.
What am I saying? My list.
I
have a wife. What do I need to list
absorbing
for?
it, it's like, wow, because we take stuff for granted, and you see someone from another culture, and the thing is, the culture we have difference in food and trying to get, but it's not my.
So you have Chinese food at your house every night.
But you think of not Panda Express. It's not. It's like authentic.
Yeah. Will you invite me over?
Yes.
My wife is from Asia. We can have the Asian persuasion night.
Do you like bat soup? It got a bad beat from Wuhan.
Oh man.
That bat soup is not that bad.
That's terrible.
I'm telling. No.
On that note,
I do a whole.
What's your social media? What's your handle?
Anyways, you want to follow me? Do my Instagram because it's Kato_Kaelin. Same on Twitter. Twitter's more the edgy social media. Instagram's my fun, uplifting.
We're so much alike.
Same as
same generation.
Yeah, and I'm a diehard. I'll tell you the ugliest thing about me is sports because the older I get, I keep going. I get so passionate and go crazy because I'm a Milwaukee Brewer fan, and I said they're going to lose the Braves. I want to see my lifetime World Series. The Packers are, they're 6-1. They're going to play tomorrow or whenever this taping is. I don't know, and I just want to see a championship. You had one with Philadelphia like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So you had your Super Bowl.
You had yours too.
Yeah, I'm ready for another one.
Yeah, of course, aren't we all?
And then Milwaukee Bucks, they got one. So
got one.
I'm very connected to my city. I go back there a lot. I do a lot of radio, TV, constantly on air there. That might be the place. If I'm offered a sports show, I move there.
We're so similar, but I have to tell you, I'll admit this, and we have to go.
Yeah.
I had a Sirius show, a Sirius XM show, sports. I ended up not liking sports anymore.
Wow.
Because I got tired of what the reports are about, like domestic abuse.
I go in a whole bit with that.
Right? I mean, it's terrible. And also, I'm finally, probably last year, I got out of denial that I'm not going to make it as an athlete. I think it was last year.
I had a show, you don't know, that I was on Dish Network on Saturdays called Sports Haters.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's before Pardon My Take, all the guys on Barstool Sports. Yeah. It's before. And it is, I wanted to get it back going again because we had 7 episodes, cost us a lot of money, but we got on. And it is, our motto was pushing the envelope until we get paper cuts. And we picked on sports people because they don't do it on TV. We would make fun of them and what they're paid and their hot wives or whatever else. Yeah. But it is Sports Haters I'm going to bring back because I think you should. It's so funny.
I'm getting there where I'm just not enjoying it as much. I'm actually approaching the age where I can't coach. I mean, it's like I'm out of denial about being a coach.
I'll tell you about sports, though, real quick. If you do sports, you should not talk to anybody for the first hour. DVR everything. You'll see, not watching commercials, you'll be in much better spirits because it's unbearable to watch 4 minutes or whatever of commercials, sport in a commercial. And every commercial is the same. It's all the same. Everyone's the same.
How about the Nugenics with Frank Thomas?
Yeah. Well,
and he ends it by going, and she'll like it too.
They got to put a dick joke in everything.
And his name's
Yeah.
The Big Hurt. His nickname is literally The Big Hurt, and it's about him getting better erections for his younger girlfriend, and he does that smile at the end. It's almost like a joke. Like, and Doug Flutie's in the commercial. They don't give him that line. They got to give it to The Big Hurt, and she'll like it too.
Frank White should be cast as Barry White. That's it. That's so great.
He's the original love master. Listen, brother, it was really great hanging with you, man.
Yeah,
Let's
great.
do it again. Let's have
love
another one of these. We could just chat forever. We could just next we'll handle the 70s sitcoms.
Okay. I love it. That was 70s, wasn't it? All in the Family?
Yeah, actually that was. Maybe we'll do early 80s.
Early 80s, okay,
Perfect
go with that.
Strangers. You could do Balky impressions.
He came to Wizard World too. I love it.
Yes, I was on Hollywood Squares with him.
Bosom Buddies. Peter just passed away.
Yeah,
It was all bad.
Gloria, that was a shame. But anyway, way to end it on a bad note. All right, thank you very much.
Hey, everybody, please live life. Be happy.
Guess who's never going to die? Alf. Alf will never die. We can talk about him every episode. It's evergreen.
Craig, you're on fire. Thanks so much for having
Kato
me.
Kaelin, I love you, man. It was so much fun, and we're going to double date, and we'll have some Asian food together.
Whee!
There you go. All right. Hey, I hope you had a great time today on Enlightened Up, and please pass the word about us. What else are you going to pass the word about, right? What else? You going to tell somebody about another true crime? Yeah, there's a lot of great true crime. I watch them too, but take a break from that and watch us or listen to us. Put us in your headphones while you're working out. You'll have some chuckles. People go, what the hell are they laughing at?
Start a family.
And that's when they say,
hang
what
out
are you
with family.
laughing at? Don't go, hey, say, I'll tell you, I'm laughing at Craig Shoemaker, and Kato Kaelin was his special guest today. Make sure you follow Kato and follow us. We are all over the social media, and that didn't sound right. Whenever you put a "the" in front of it, you sound old. You know, the Facebook, the social.
That was the
social
original
media,
name.
I know
According to
that's the Vindergarses or whatever their name was. What was it? Vindervoss?
Yeah.
What was their? Oh, damn! I'm blanking on the name.
Well, they're doing the thing now. Where that joke, it won't get a laugh.
Winklevoss.
It won't get a laugh, but they're merging Facebook and Twitter and was that Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube all together? That $58 billion merge, where it's called YouTwitface, and you should get on it. I mean, it was just,
I'm already on my face.
you
I had to give it up. Anyway, folks,
better than being on your tube.
remember when you're out there, bring some light to the world and enlighten the fuck up, will you?
Love it.
See you next time.
Happy.